alarming new trend showing the lengths many families are willing to go to make ends meet.
Buy now, pay later. Sorry? You buy now, you pay later.
Buy now, pay later it's probably one of my number one most hated forms of debt.
Buy now, pay later, whatever. Credit cards, same difference. Same freaking difference.
Buy now, pay later is just another way of getting into trouble.
Let's get straight to it. You walk into a store or browse online and see a tempting offer. No interest for 12 months. 0% financing. Pay nothing today. It sounds like free money, and technically, it is, for now. But beneath that shiny 0% lies one of the most psychologically engineered traps in modern retail. The kind that makes banks and brands billions, while leaving consumers in quiet debt spirals they don't even realize they've entered. This is the 0% financing trap, and today we're pulling the entire thing apart. So here's how the trap actually works. When a store offers you 0% interest, they're essentially letting you take the product home now and pay for it later without any added cost, as long as you follow the fine print exactly. That's where things get slippery.
I think of this as what I call the treadmill of debt, okay? We've all seen those maybe reels on social media of the person on the treadmill running, and then it gets going faster and faster, and the next thing you know, they get smacked against the wall.
Most of these offers are what's called deferred interest financing. That means you won't get charged interest if, and only if, you pay off the entire amount within the promotional period. Let's say you buy a $2,000 couch and the deal says 0% interest for 12 months. If you pay it off in exactly 12 months or less, great, you win. But if you're one day late or leave even $1 unpaid by month 13, the full interest from the entire year gets tacked on retroactively. And that's not at a friendly rate. We're talking 25% to 30% APR, instantly dumped on you, backdated all the way to day one. This is where most people get caught. It's not about missing huge chunks of payments, it's about the tiniest slip. One missed payment, one forgotten due date, and suddenly your interest-free sofa is $400 more expensive. That's not just a late fee, that's engineered financial punishment, designed to kick in when your guard is down. But here's the thing, the trap isn't just in the fine print, it's in the way the deal makes you feel. 0% financing doesn't just change how much you pay, it changes how you think. Because when you see that magic 0%, your brain flips into opportunity mode. It tells you this is smart. You're not spending money, you're leveraging time. The rational part of you says, I've got a whole year to pay this off. No pressure. But that mental comfort creates distance from the actual price. Suddenly, $2,000 doesn't feel like $2,000 anymore. It feels like a monthly drip. $166 per month. Manageable, harmless. And because it doesn't hurt as much upfront, you're more likely to buy. And not just buy, upgrade. Better laptop? Why not? Nicer fridge? Sure. You're not paying now anyway. This is where the psychology of the trap kicks in full force. It's about disarming your sense of financial resistance. If you were told to pay full price right now, you'd pause. You'd weigh your options. But when the money is broken up into invisible future payments, it bypasses your caution. It feels like you're being responsible, even when you're committing to long-term debt. This isn't just theory, it's design. These offers are created to hijack how your brain processes cost. Behavioral economists call this present bias, the tendency to prioritize what feels good now over what might hurt later. 0% financing is like a sugar coating over debt. It's technically sweet, but it rots you quietly over time. And it's not just your decision-making that gets affected, it's your memory. People forget they're in a promotional period. Life gets busy. You move houses, switch banks, lose a job, or just forget to log in. Then, bam! The grace period ends, and your account suddenly reflects a whole year's worth of backdated interest, and there's no negotiation. You already signed the contract. The trap wasn't just sprung, it was walked into voluntarily. From the company's point of view, this isn't just a clever marketing gimmick, it's a surgical strike.
Legit, let me tell you my secret. Credit card debt, Afterpay, Klarna. Is it the most financially responsible? No, but that's okay because the debt will disappear someday.
Brands and credit issuers know exactly how human psychology works, and they weaponize it with precision. Let's break down the strategy behind these traps. First, The offer isn't about helping you, it's about lowering your buying resistance. 0% interest is one of the most powerful triggers in marketing psychology. It instantly tells your brain, this is a smart deal. But the actual goal isn't just to get you to buy, it's to get you to spend more than you otherwise would. When people pay in full, they shop with a different mindset. They compare prices, they cut extras. But when people finance, especially at 0%, they upgrade, they add accessories, they rationalize warranties. And that's where the profit really lives. Retailers know this. They don't make their money off financing, they make it off your inflated cart. They use the illusion of savings to push you into premium territory. Your $700 laptop becomes a $1,400 premium model with the works. But it's fine, right? You're not paying up front. Second, these offers are designed to be almost safe. They're close enough to free that your risk radar shuts down, but they're full of hidden rules you're unlikely to follow perfectly. And that's intentional. Stores don't expect most customers to screw up completely, but they do expect enough of them to slip, and that's where the real interest profits kick in. The goal is to create a deal that looks too good to pass up, but is too complex to navigate casually. This is why the contracts are often long, the terms buried in jargon, and the penalties harsh. It's not accidental. The complexity creates confusion, and confusion leads to inaction. Most people don't read the full agreement. They trust the headline, 0% for 12 months, and assume the rest is standard. That's all part of the system. The fewer people who fully understand the terms, the more money these companies stand to make. Third, companies use timing to their advantage. They know that most people will start strong. The first few months, you're careful. You set reminders. You plan payments. But as time goes on, discipline fades. Life happens. Emergencies, forgetfulness, new bills. And when that final month creeps in, they're counting on a slip. Because that one moment of weakness, after 11 months of good behavior, is the jackpot. They get to retroactively charge 25% interest on the entire original balance. Not just what's left, everything. And here's something else that's rarely discussed. A lot of these deals come with deferred interest, not waived interest. That's a massive difference. If the interest were waived, it would mean there's no interest accumulating during the promotional period. But deferred interest means that interest is piling up in the background the whole time. You just don't see it unless you mess up. If you fail to pay it off on time, the dam breaks and that full year's worth of interest crashes down on you at once. This is an incredibly profitable structure for lenders. It's low risk, high return. The best part? It feels like a win-win on the surface. The consumer feels empowered, the brand looks generous, and the lender sets a trap that's easy to trigger but hard to see coming. And it doesn't stop with furniture or electronics. 0% financing is everywhere now. Car dealerships, dental procedures, plastic surgery, HVAC systems, vacations, even pets. It's being sold as a financing revolution, but it's really just a new suit for an old game. Debt dressed up as opportunity. From a company's perspective, this model scales beautifully. It lowers upfront resistance, boosts average transaction size, and creates downstream revenue from the customers who slip. Even if only 10 to 20% of people fail to pay in full, the profits are enormous. And better yet, it costs them nothing upfront. The risk is pushed entirely onto you. That's the genius and danger of the 0% trap. It's not loud, it's not aggressive. It's quiet, polite, and perfectly legal, but it's engineered with one goal: to make you feel like you're beating the system, while the system quietly beats you. Now let's dive into what makes the 0% financing trap so dangerous, the real damage it does to consumers, and why you often end up paying way more than you think. First off, it's easy to assume 0% interest means free money.
Say, do you do it? The question sounds bizarre, and yet this is not some hypothetical. You can actually do this.
But the truth is, most people don't fully grasp the hidden costs or how these deals shift the risk and expense onto you. Take Apple, for example. They offer 0% financing on new iPhones through their Apple Card. Sounds amazing, right? But it only works if you pay off the phone completely in the promotional period, typically 12 to 24 months. Miss one payment or don't clear the balance in time, and you're hit with interest charges that can be 20% or higher. retroactively applied to the entire purchase amount from day one. Suddenly, your free phone becomes an expensive burden. Even worse, many people aren't mentally prepared for this. Behavioral economics shows us that consumers tend to underestimate future risks and overestimate their ability to make perfect payments on time. It's called optimism bias, believing things won't go wrong even when statistics say otherwise, and companies count on that bias. Best Buy uses similar tactics. They'll advertise 0% financing on a $1,500 TV, but the fine print often requires a minimum monthly payment, or there's a deferred interest clause. If you don't pay off the full amount within 12 to 18 months, interest charges jump in suddenly, as if you borrowed at a regular credit card rate all along. Many customers don't realize this until the bill arrives, and by then, it's too late. Car dealerships are masters of this game. They'll pitch 0% financing on a new car to make the deal look irresistible, but they often build in other hidden costs, higher vehicle prices, junk fees, or expensive add-ons. The 0% offer lets them mask these costs up front. Plus, if your credit isn't perfect, you may not even qualify for the 0% deal and will end up with a much higher interest rate instead. Dealers use the 0% bait to pull in buyers and then upsell heavily, knowing most buyers won't walk away. So what happens when consumers fall for these traps? For starters, many people end up with longer debt cycles. They think they're paying off a purchase interest-free, but a single missed payment or delay triggers costly retroactive interest. Suddenly, they owe hundreds or thousands more than expected, and the debt drags on for years. Worse, this can wreck credit scores. Missed payments or increased credit utilization from carrying balances too long ding your score. Lower credit scores mean higher borrowing costs in the future, so what looked like a sweet deal becomes a long-term financial setback. There's also a psychological toll. Financial stress and the guilt of being trapped in debt can affect mental health, leading to anxiety or depression. The constant worry about payments creates a cycle of stress that affects decision-making and overall well-being. Let's be real, these traps thrive because they exploit common consumer behaviors and emotions. Marketers design offers to look like easy wins, but the devil is always in the details. They rely on confusing terms, small print, and your natural tendency to focus on the headline 0% interest rather than the complex reality underneath. This is where financial literacy is crucial. Knowing how deferred interest works, reading the fine print carefully, and understanding your payment obligations can save you from costly mistakes. For example, instead of jumping on 0% financing, consider saving up or using a credit card with rewards and a reasonable interest rate that you can pay off quickly. Brands also bank on payment minimums that are tricky to meet. Some require a monthly payment that's higher than what you expect, or payments that barely reduce the principal, keeping you in debt longer. Others use grace periods that disappear if you miss a payment, making interest charges kick in immediately. Another example is furniture stores, which love 0% deals. You get a new couch for $2,000 interest-free for 18 months, but if you're late by even one day on your last payment, they charge interest on the entire original amount retroactively. So, a small slip-up costs you hundreds in surprise interest. The pattern here is consistent. Companies design financing to encourage purchases you might not otherwise make, then use strict rules and penalties to maximize their profit. They also depend heavily on consumer inertia, the tendency not to change or act until forced by a problem. This is why many financial advisors suggest avoiding 0% financing altogether, unless you're absolutely sure you can pay it off within the promotion period without fail. If you don't have a strict budget or an emergency fund, these offers can be more trouble than they're worth. To make this clearer, let's break down an example scenario with numbers. Suppose you buy a $1,200 laptop on a 12-month 0% financing plan. Your monthly payment is $100. Sounds straightforward. But if you miss the payment due in month 6, the deferred interest clause means you get charged interest on the entire $1,200, not just the remaining balance. If the interest rate is 24%, that's $288 added to your debt instantly. So what's the takeaway here? The trap works because companies count on two things. First, that you won't read the fine print, and second, that you won't predict the small mistakes that trigger costly penalties. That's why being cautious and informed is your best defense. Now, let's look at how companies think about this from a business perspective. For retailers and lenders, 0% financing isn't a charity or goodwill gesture. It's a powerful sales tool. It increases sales volume, gets you to buy more expensive products, and builds long-term customer debt that feeds profits. Behind the scenes, these firms use sophisticated algorithms and consumer data to target buyers likely to fall into these traps. They analyze credit reports, spending habits, and even social media activity to decide who qualifies for 0% offers and who doesn't, always aiming to maximize profit and minimize risk. One insider estimate suggests that retailers make between 10% to 20% profit on products sold with 0% financing, way more than typical retail margins. This is because many customers either miss payments or get caught by deferred interest, adding extra revenue streams from interest and fees. There's also a psychological strategy at play. Companies understand that people prefer smaller monthly payments to upfront costs, even if it means paying more in the long run. This present bias, prioritizing immediate gratification over future cost, works heavily in their favor. And don't forget, these offers often push you to buy more expensive models or add extras. When you're told you can pay $0 down and just $50 a month, it's tempting to pick a pricier TV, phone, or car than you planned. Suddenly your budget's blown, but the monthly payment still looks manageable until the penalties start. Even the way these offers are advertised uses clever language to hide risks. Terms like no interest if paid in full or deferred interest sound technical, and many people assume they mean no interest ever, not realizing the strict conditions attached. In fact, many consumer protection agencies warn that these offers can be misleading without clear disclosure. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in the US regularly takes action against lenders and retailers who fail to properly explain deferred interest terms or hide fees in the fine print. Ultimately, understanding the real cost of 0% financing means looking beyond the surface. It means realizing these deals are designed to hook you with ease and then squeeze you with penalties. Knowing this, your smartest move is to treat 0% offers skeptically, read every detail, and plan your payments carefully, or just avoid the trap altogether. That's the bottom line. Now, let's wrap this up quickly. And that's the real cost behind 0% financing. Not as free as it seems, and definitely something you need to watch out for.